this bill to the House. It's great. We have the Minister for Justice here today, Mr. Fitzgerald. I think the fact that you're establishing a new independent policing body is extremely important. I think it will enhance the role of Garda Síochána, who do fantastic work on the ground. But it all has to, I suppose, come back to policing services on the ground itself. I suppose I want to draw the Minister's attention to, I suppose, emanating from particular issues that happened in my own constituency of Limerick for the last number of weeks, more particularly in rural East Limerick, an area that I represent, where John O'Donnell suffered a heart attack when a burglary was being committed in his own home. He was living in Tumaline, Doon, and it's something that has, I suppose, shocked the community in the greater Doon and Capramore area and the Maru area in East Limerick, and it's something I suppose I want to discuss. The whole issue around burglaries, and I believe it should be tackled in a three-strategy approach. And number one, it's an issue of policing. Particularly in East Limerick, the areas I'm talking about are Capramore, Doon, Maru, Pallasgreen and Oola. Historically, Oola and Doon were under the Tipperary district, which would be geographically much closer. With the realignment of geographical areas, they're now under Bruff, which is a longer distance away, with the main office district based in Bruff itself. True, and it's I suppose it's something, Minister, you inherited from the previous administration. Templemore was closed in 2009. No Garda recruitment. I very much welcome the fact that you fast-tracked Garda recruitment over the last year with 550 new recruits out of Templemore. And I welcome the fact there's a commitment to continue that over the next number of years. And I'd actually urge that finances permitting it would be increased. With a combination of people being out sick and retirements, East Limerick area in particular is very much down on Garda Síochána on the ground. And I suppose the three-pronged approach I'd like to see are extra Gardaí in East Limerick. There is a need for at least one or two extra Gardaí on the ground out there. I'm well aware that in terms of resources, I've spoken to our Chief Superintendent in Limerick. The Gardaí are doing fantastic work on the ground. So I would hope in terms of Garda recruits, and even before then, that extra Gardaí would be provided to the Limerick district, more particularly to that East Limerick area. And the geographical area really evolves around Oola, Doon, Capramore, Maru and Pallasgreen. Secondly, Minister, you'll bring in legislation next week, which I very much welcome, the Criminal Justice Burglary and Dwellings Bill 2015. The key things for me are, at the moment, you've given a quote that 75% of burglaries are committed by 25% of criminals. Anecdotally, that's borne out, and obviously in fact as well. It needs to be very strong. You're bringing in, we'll say, for repeat offenders, increased sentencing. The bail laws are going to be tightened up. I would feel we have to look at, and I'll be involved in the debate next week, I feel we have to send out a strong message to burglars that if they're caught, they're going to serve serious time. There's going to be other issues, withdrawing of social welfare benefits. Elderly people, in the last number of weeks, I've met people both in the rural area of East Limerick and in the city area of East Limerick, where their houses have been broken into, elderly people living on their own. They're targeting jewellery at the moment, they're targeting cash, and in a lot of cases they're targeting the elderly. And you meet them, it's the invasion of privacy, their loss of confidence, the fact that homes that they've bought and built over many years, it's just not on. And we have to, and that's why I very much welcome this legislation coming in. It needs to be very, very strong, and the deterrent goes out. and if they're caught, they pay the time. Secondly, Minister, we have to, and I know you have a review underway in the whole area of the regulation of cash for gold type shops. You have a lot of respectable jewellery shops operating, but the cash for gold, they're targeting that area. I believe it's not tight enough. I believe that jewellery is being stolen. It's been taken to certain premises where effectively it's gone within a couple of days. We have to find a regulation, be it formal identification, tracing it back, and it's making Gardaí and Connacht's job impossible because they can't follow it down the line. I think that legislation needs to be fast-tracked. Yes, there are difficulties around the areas of legitimate businesses, but that shouldn't be a deterrent for the government putting in legislation to say that if you steal these goods, we'll trace them, and if we trace them, we'll put you in jail. Simple as that. I am very strong in this because of people I've met. Thirdly, it's I suppose the issue around extra Gardaí on the ground. And I live in Castletroy, which is an urban area. We've had burglaries there in recent times. Once again, in a lot of cases, elderly people. We need, the key feature is Gardaí on the ground. Gardaí that know their beat. And it comes down to manpower. And I understand you're working against a backdrop where Garda recruits were not being taken on since 2009, and Fianna Fáil closed it down. They made a deliberate decision in that area. I believe it shouldn't have been made. I believe that what people value, and I believe very strongly in law and order, every person should be entitled to be in their homes at night without fear that they're going to be broken into. And I have elderly people that will not go home because of that fear. I have people that can't sleep at night. I know of people in businesses who are operating their businesses in rural villages that will close their business up at 10 at night for fear of basically being burglaries or people coming in that will cause them hassle. So, for me, it's very straightforward, and it's particularly my first primary role is to represent the people of Limerick City and East Limerick. And I'm putting a message out loud and clear, Minister, that people on the ground, and particularly the elderly living their own, have had enough. This legislation is coming in next week. It's a great development. We're going to peruse it to make sure that all elements are covered in terms of that if someone burgles, they know they'll serve the crime. And that the victim is put at the centre of our system, and that their rights are looked after, and that they're not basically, that they're not afraid to go to sleep at night. Secondly, Minister, we have to put that deterrent in place so that if goods that are stolen are not given a passageway where we can offload these goods quickly without trace, that will be a deterrent. We put proper tracing mechanisms in place, proper regulations around the cash for gold shops to ensure that people, I've met people that have lost wedding rings, engagement rings, stuff that's extremely precious to them. And they're targeting these groups, these elderly groups, both urban and rural. And finally, Minister, I hope you get the support, particularly in the upcoming budget. Extra resources put into Garda recruitment so that you can enhance the level of recruitment that we're doing in Templemore and put Gardaí on the ground. And in particular, we need at least one, minimum, 2 Gardaí out in rural East Limerick, around the areas I spoke about, covering the areas of Cappamore, Doon, Maru, Palace Green and Ula, so that people are assured that any issue with burglaries, that these people will be tracked and that they're on the ground seeing exactly what's happening, and that first and foremost that the victim is put at the centre. And I commend this bill. I've spoken about local issues, but I think it encapsulates what policing is all about. It's both an urban issue and it's a rural issue. And what we need to see are Gardaí on the ground in rural East Limerick, and extra Gardaí in the likes of urban areas, the likes of Castletroy and throughout the city, and that people can feel safe. And thank you.